Good morning, everyone. So grateful to be able to talk about authenticity today. Wow, I said that really weird. Authenticity today. I'm coming at you completely authentic. I mean, most days I do, but no makeup, in my pajamas, even, in like the comfiest sweater around. Um, it's getting fall when at the time of this recording, and it is just getting chilly in the mornings, and I absolutely love snuggling up to my computer with y'all. So, okay, I'm gonna get right to these slides today because we are talking about authenticity, and I really love, first of all, not being able to talk and do things at the same time, but there we go. Hopefully you can see it now. But I really love this topic of authenticity and being authentically you because it's crucial to how we feel. It's crucial to be able to have the life that we want. And as we talk about growing and strengthening and cleansing your aura, if we are living a life that does not feel authentic to us, that everybody else's needs are a priority over our own, and we aren't aligned with what we're doing every day, then our aura is definitely smaller. We hold it in to protect ourselves. We It's not as bright because if we don't really know who we are and we're not actively being who we are, how are people supposed to feel that? How are we supposed to attract into our lives what we want if we don't even know what we want, or if we're not acting like we really want, right? So being authentic is one of the biggest ways to grow your aura, and the biggest way to attract what we really want into our lives. Okay, getting rid of any beliefs that are not serving us, getting rid of anything, beliefs, people, situations, all of that stuff that doesn't feel aligned with our true soul. Okay, so what is authenticity, right? It's really a buzzword people talk about all the time. I know Brene Brown has written so many books really touching on this. If you haven't read any of her books, definitely check in on those. They're great. But if you are hearing this buzzword and you're like, what does that even mean? Well, authenticity is having a keen awareness of who you are and then being that person no matter who you're around and what those people think about you. So it's having an opinion and then speaking it, making decisions that align with your personal values and beliefs, pursuing your passions, listening to the inner voice that's guiding you forward, allowing yourself to be vulnerable and open-hearted, and setting boundaries and walking away from situations that are not good for you. And it's the freedom to just be, to not have to worry about everything and just be. Okay? So, why isn't it changing? There we go. Okay, so some examples of authenticity. I just give two here. I'm sure you guys could think of a whole bunch more. But in a relationship, an authentic connection requires balancing our own needs with caring for our partner, practicing healthy assertive communication, expressing your opinions and feelings, even when it feels vulnerable. At the same time, actively listen to what your partner needs, taking pause to respond rather than react emotionally. Okay? So often we get in these friendship relationships, mother-father, parent-child relationships, or romantic relationships, even work relationships that they may not feel authentic to us because we don't feel like we can voice our opinions, or we feel like we're going to be judged. So, just being able to practice some healthy communication and expressing what we really feel, even when it doesn't feel safe, really is the key to breaking down those relationships to be authentic. and have an authentic exchange between two people. So sometimes it takes the first person to really be vulnerable and authentic for the other person to meet them there. So be brave. Okay, work relationships. So professionalism doesn't have to compromise authenticity. Often we will just play the game to get ahead, right? So it's like you do and you be whatever you've got to be to get that promotion or to get the raise or to fit into your workplace. But when we do that, it really can kind of alienate ourselves, and it creates an atmosphere of competitiveness rather than collaborating. So to be in a healthy work environment, it really needs to encourage open dialogue and an exchange of ideas where you respect each other's diversity, where it's okay to be different than each other and have different opinions and be able to talk about those opinions in the workplace. Maybe not personal opinions if, that's, every workplace is different, whether you can be personal or not, right? But at least being able to say, like, here's how I think the job needs to get done. And this person says, here's how I think the job needs to get done. And there's always more than one way to skin a cat, right? So you can come at the job with different ideas, different opinions, and it's respected in the workplace, right? That's how an example of what an authentic work environment would be, where you can really not just have to play the game. Okay, now today's slides, I just wanted to list 8 strategies that I've found to help me be authentic. For sure, I used to not be authentic. We've talked about this before, but I've lived the life that I thought everyone wanted me to live, and the life that I was taught was beautiful. And I was in a relationship that, my first marriage, my only marriage, that I didn't have the freedom to just be me. It was like, if I wanted to not get in a fight, or if I wanted to feel that I was getting approval, I basically had to be what he wanted me to be, right? And it didn't feel very authentic to me. And since then, even during it, towards the end of the relationship, I did start taking the steps to be more authentic. I really started finding out what I really liked. I didn't even know what my favorite color was. I didn't know what my favorite food was, because it was like, whatever you want, whatever you want, whatever you want. So I have since really dug in and tried to find out who I really am. I used to straighten my hair every day. Every day. Look at that curl. Now I never do, because this hair feels authentic to me. It helps me feel free. It helps kind of cultivate my more wild and like whimsical side that I was so just like straight-laced before. And not that that's a bad thing. It just didn't fit me. Like, I don't do well with schedules and having things always do, right? And so, yeah, my hair, it's authentic. It comes natural. This is the way God created me. And so now I just get out of the shower and let it dry. And then I just like go like this, and I feel great. So anyway, I'm not saying that everyone needs to stop doing their hair. This is what works for me, right? But for you, tapping in, feeling what is authentic to you, I've got 8 steps that really help me. Okay? Drum roll. That's me drum rolling for you. Okay, so the first one is taking personal inventory, and our next few slides explain all of these, and I should stop telling personal stories and really get through these slides faster. I apologize. But the second one is being present. The third is building your social support system. 4th is speaking your truth assertively. And 5th is take daily action towards authenticity, working on it every day. 6th is taking a step back to gain perspective. And 7 is recognizing your internal versus external influences. And then the 8th one, which is my favorite one, is looking at the 3-year-old you. Okay, so we're going to go through each of those slides. So taking personal inventory, the first step, when we check in, and you don't have to memorize all of this. I have these questions for you in your homework. I just want to talk about each one so that when you get to your homework, you know why I'm having you ask these questions to yourself, and you kind of understand what I'm asking. So, taking personal inventory, we stop and think about when you feel most authentic. Taking some time to really ask direct questions is how we find true answers. If we don't ask good questions, then we don't get good answers. So I've got some really good questions that really are going to help you deep dive. So let's see, discovering who you are and not putting on a mask or betraying your core values. So when in your life, you can go think about all the different situations and times in your life, or even just things that have happened this week or month. But when you maybe have put on masks or betraying your core values, when you get clear on your values, it will be easier to make decisions in line with your authentic self. Okay, so what type of people and activities or situations make you feel most alive? When are you happiest? When are you feeling passionate about something and alive? And then, are there people or parts of your life that make you feel unhappy, angry, or toxic? Okay. And then once we've identified those two things, we take it a little bit further and we look at those situations that feel wrong to us, and we think about who were we with when it felt wrong? What emotions came up? What do those experiences and situations cost you emotionally and physically? And then the situations that felt authentic, where we felt alive and we felt good, what's going on? Who were you with? What activities were involved? And what emotions or outcomes were positive from these experiences? Okay. Like I said, that will all be in your journaling, so don't worry too much about those questions. We'll come back to them at the end. Step number 2, be present. So the ability to be present with yourself, no matter what's going on around you or who you're with, it's essential to your authenticity. Okay, when we can kind of pause and really be where we are at that moment, and we're not distracted by any like outside mental chatter or external situations that we're not aware of, that's when we're present. When we kind of turn off that monkey brain and just come to the present moment. So if you ever find yourself wondering how you look, or do you get approval from that person? Like, what do they think about me? Do they like me? Do they not like me? Or what should I do next? Okay, what am I going to do next after this? What should I do? That's when we need to just pause, take a few deep breaths. Obviously, you don't have to do it loud like that for anyone to notice, but just pause. Take a couple deep breaths and reflect on what your true values are. So it's like, what really does matter to me? Does it matter that I didn't do my hair today? No. Hopefully they'll like me anyway. Does it really matter if this person likes me? No, because I actually really like who I am when I'm authentic with myself, right? So being present in that moment and stop that little monkey brain that's talking about everything else. The next step is building your social support system. So if we want to live an authentic life, we really do need to surround ourselves with authentic people. So finding communities and groups of people, whether they're in your life already or that they're not in your life, but they're out there somewhere, finding those people who share your core values and then go spend time with them. Whether it's church groups, political groups, a hiking group, a volunteer group that's doing, work for the community, or maybe it's just some friends that go bowling every week. Whatever it is, someone who shares some core values with you, go spend time with them. We are who what do they say? The quote, something like, we are the top five people we hang around with. So who we spend time with is who we become. So we want to make sure we're spending time with people who are authentic to themselves and that they align with our true values, and we can be our true self with them. Okay? So surround yourself with people who encourage your big dreams rather than shoot them down. First of all, you have to know what your big dreams are, but then make sure when you get around someone who encourages those dreams and doesn't say, well, you shouldn't do that, or what will people think? If they encourage you, hang out with that person more, right? People that build you up. Walk away from any naysayers. Even if it's your parents who you love so much and they're amazing people, but if they are kind of telling you, maybe don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, or ooh, that's scary, maybe don't do that, realize that they're trying to protect you from where they are at. They are not you. They don't have the same beliefs as you, the same drive as you, the same skills as you. They see the world in a totally different way than you. So walk away from those people. You don't have to walk away completely, if it's someone that is important to you, but don't take their opinion to hold you back. Does that make sense? You don't have to spend all your time with them if they are a naysayer. And I use parents as an example of that just because it does happen so often. We're such a different generation. Every generation is so different. And that they would probably say the same thing. Like, yeah, I'm not going to be exactly like my parent either. We get to be ourselves. Okay. Then connect with a coach or mentor who can help you navigate your path to self-discovery. So if there's someone who aligns with your values and they've walked that road before, ask for help. Having a coach or mentor is huge. Invest in yourself. If you need to spend money to have them coach you once a week or, twice a month or something like that, it is worth it, because once you are aligned and authentic with yourself, like I said, then you start attracting everything that you really want in life, and it's worth every penny you could spend. Okay. Okay. And then the last thing is checking in with your relationships from time to time. Make sure they still align. Just because someone aligns with you now doesn't mean they will in a year or 10 years. Just because, they've aligned with you in the past doesn't mean they always will, because people shift and grow. Either you're shifting and growing or they're shifting and growing, and being able to check in and make sure that they are a support system for your authenticity is going to be really important. Okay. All right. Now, next step, speaking your truth assertively. So improving how we communicate can have a big impact on living our authenticity. So some people tend to be passive and hold back sharing their opinions. They'll just won't say anything. It's like the person that's, on this picture. That's the way I used to be. I wouldn't say anything. I didn't even know my opinion, so how could I share it? But then others, and for me, it was the fear of I didn't want to be the aggressive person. It's like, because there's all different ranges, but we either look at things black and white. So it's we either say nothing, or there's the people that aggressively dominate a conversation and they fail to listen to anyone else, right? And so out of fear of being aggressive and dominant in a conversation, I would just I'm not going to share my opinion. I don't want to offend anyone. So, and then there's the passive aggressive communicators who use sarcasm or dishonesty, which totally blocks the authentic exchange. So what we want to find is that happy medium, right? Where we get to express our needs honestly and with confidence, but we also take the time to listen to other people when they speak. And we keep that eye contact during the conversation, showing we care and are connected to the other person. And then being able to say no, assertively, but not rudely. There's a difference. The assertive is just like knowing what you want, saying it with confidence without being rude or dominating, right? And finding that balance takes practice. And I know that you can do it. Keep practicing. If you want to, if you need someone to practice with, role play really does help, and I'm here for it. So you guys can always schedule appointments with me, or at the end of the program, we usually do a one-on-one, and we can practice on some of those things as well. Okay, the next step is taking daily action toward your authenticity. So when we talk about authenticity, you're probably feeling like it's this abstract concept. You're like, okay, cool, be authentic. But really, if we break it down to just the small actions that we do every day, then it doesn't feel like this big abstract concept. The small moments and actions that we do each day make up who we actually are. So if your time is dominated by other people's priorities, then you'll feel like you're not living your true authentic life, right? So set aside some time to decide what your priorities are for the day ahead. You know, in this picture, I've got a little someone writing down in like a daily schedule or a daily planner. Do it. Actually write down the tasks that for work or exercise or self-care, your personal goals, you know, whether it's getting enough sleep, whatever you need to be able to feel authentic, plan it out, write it down, and then make time for it. Okay, we're getting towards the end of all these steps. So the next step is taking a step back to gain perspective. When we get in a rut, instead of like hyper focusing on it and searching for a solution to a problem, we end up stepping outside of our authenticity. We'll do something that doesn't feel right just to solve a problem, or we'll do something we don't want to do just to solve a problem. Instead of hyper focusing and searching for that solution, step back. Look, you know, from the distant view and see, you know, if we're really being in alignment, and just taking that time for yourself, whether it's a day off or a week off, you know, from the problem. When we take the time, taking a break helps us listen to our heart and our gut, and then the answer will just naturally flow. So stepping back is huge for being able to just be like, okay, check in with my heart and my gut. And sometimes when we just turn our focus somewhere else on something fun or just a totally different problem, then those answers will naturally just come up, okay? And then the next step is recognize internal versus external influences. So to understand this, we want to just make sure you understand what I mean by internal and external influences. So internal motivators or influence are the things that are inside of us, like our drives and our desires that come up from deep within. So I'm talking about your heart dreams that push you to become better and better, and that help you pursue your dreams, right? So those things that you get excited about. What lights you up? What do you get excited about? Or another thing that we don't talk about is like our secret desires. What are your secret desires that you actually don't even tell people about, but it keeps coming up all the time? You know, like sometimes I have the secret desire to run away to like a beach location and live there for a while. I don't talk about it because I'm like, well, that wouldn't be responsible and my kids would miss school, and you know, like, what kind of a mom would I be if I didn't have them enrolled in school all the time? You know, I just told you my secret desires, but it keeps coming up. So there will be a time in my life where we do that because I want to be authentic to those desires, right? Anyway, so those internal motivators, those drives that come from deep within. And then external motivators are the decisions we make that are based on people outside of us, like their opinions or money or what status we want or recognition that we want or expectations from other people, right? Okay, so when we make big decisions or even small decisions, we need to stop and ask ourselves, do I feel pressured by other people to take this step? If so, who do I feel pressure from? And what do I want to accomplish with this goal? Like, what am I trying to get out of this? And am I willing to fight through difficult obstacles to make this happen? And then listen to your gut. Is this truly what I want? Right? Really feeling and tapping into our heart and our gut to decide if it's coming from ourselves or from someone else. Okay? And then the last step. And this step is really the one that helped me the most in finding myself. Take your time and think about what you were like when you were just 3 years old. Like, I get emotional when I think about it because I can like already see you guys as your little 3-year-olds and how sweet and innocent you guys are, and the things that light you up and make you smile, and the freedom that we feel at 3 years old because we're not worrying about other people's judgment at that age, right? Our critical faculty, we've talked about this in other courses or other topics, but that part in our brain that kind of judges us and like decides what's important and what's not, it's not quite developed at 3 years old. So we don't start worrying about what other people think about us and what's going to get us love and what's not going to get us love and all of that. So around 3 years old is such a great age. So go back there. You can ask people, your parents or your siblings or any friends that knew you back then. Ask them what they remember about you, what you were like, what excited you, what you did for fun. Were you shy? Were you talkative? Did you like to dance and move, or did you like to cuddle? Ask those questions. And then look back at some photos or any memorabilia that you have, just to kind of spark any feelings or memories inside of you that can help you remember what you were like. And then just count and trust anything that comes up inside of you. Is like, you know what? I was a goer. I was a mover. I was always, looking to play. I was social. I love to talk to people. Whatever it is. Trust it. And then journal on it. Okay, I do ask this question in your homework, but journal on it and explain what you were like back then before you were conditioned to be anything different. Make a list of words that describe you. Like mine were joyful, I was connected, I was powerful, I was fun, I was full of light. Yeah, okay? So make a list like that. That list can be really long or really short, but really spend some time remembering what you were like, because that will tell you what you were created to be, and then give yourself permission to go back there, to go back to what you were when you were 3. Okay, so that is it. I hopefully didn't take too long going through those. If you need more clarification or have any questions, always you have permission, please. I do this course to help people. I love to hear from you. Please, if you have questions or want more clarity on anything, message me, okay? Here are your homework assignments. Some of these are hard questions that might take some time, but really feel into these answers. If you don't have an answer to one of them, then take a couple days and really think on it, and then come back and then journal on it later. Once you're done with all of these questions and you feel like you've given them a really good feel into and you really know the answers, then please message me and let me know you're done, and also let me know what you plan to shift on. Okay, so you're like, okay, now that I know who I am and I know where I've been living out of authenticity or out of alignment, here's the shift that I'm going to make today. Here's it can be just a small shift or it can be a big shift. Whatever you feel comfortable with, let me know what you are going to shift to be more authentically you. All right. Thank you so very much for being here. I love it, and I hope to hear from you soon.